Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear students, from some days we have been learning Gupta period and almost we are touching the end part of it. Today our topic of religious literature in the Gupta period, which had started from 270 AD after its founder Sri Gupta founded it, and it was up to the end of 550 AD, that is when Vishnu Gupta, its last ruler, was killed. In the meantime, great and glorious things happened, and when we see about this religious literature, there were many things that occurred. For example, Smritis, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Gupta Puranas were compiled during this period, although they had been composed in the earlier period, but it was during this time that when great scholars and writers had been in this period, they thought that this literature is to be compiled, and finally different shapes and volumes came in various forms. Two important epics include Ramayana and Mahabharata. Ramayana we have already discussed, and today our topic is Mahabharata. Mahabharata. What was this Mahabharata? We will see in today's this video. Mahabharata is the largest epic in the world, written in three different phases. Written in three different phases. World's largest epic. Ramayana is written in two different phases, while as Mahabharata is in three different phases. Finally compiled during this Gupta period, that is from 270 to 55 AD, and it was in 4th, 5th century AD, as was Ramayana. It was during this time period that it got finally to be compiled. The first phase, since we know it had three phases, the first phase had 8,800 shlokas. First phase. Number second had 60,000 shlokas. Number is increasing. And the final compilation had 1 lakh shlokas. It was during this, that is, it was called as Shat Saharta Samhita. Shat means 100. Shat Saharta Samhita. It was this third one which was called as Shat Saharta Samhita. Three phases of Mahabharata were this and the shlokas which we saw just now. Ved Vyas was believed to be its author. Ved Vyas. As we know, Valmiki was that of Ramayana, so Ved Vyas is regarded as the author of this great epic Mahabharata. The stories of Mahabharata have been set up in different time zones. Since it took very long time to compile Mahabharata, and its stories had been from the various different time zones, ranging from later Vedic, if it is Vedic, say for example Vedic period, from later Vedic, since we know later Vedic it has two, that is early and later, later Vedic and post Vedic period. Post Vedic period. See, I will say Vedic period was divided into two Vedic period, that is early, it was also called as Rig Vedic, then comes later Vedic period, and then comes post Vedic period. It was during this time that the stories had been brought and then was compiled. From these two up to Gupta period, all the stories are almost mentioned in this Mahabharata. So that is why it is very long and is world's biggest or largest epic. Broadly, there are two big stories in this. Two big stories which are in Mahabharata are: number one, the story of Mahabharata tells, first of all, it was conflict for kingdom between Kauravas and Pandavas. Conflict of Kauravas and Pandavas were kingdom. Number second was the stories of Lord Krishna. Stories of Lord Krishna. The story of Mahabharata tells about the tribal and territorial conflicts. What these stories reveal? They reveal the tribal conflicts and territorial fights, which was common during that time period because the people used to wander a place to place, conflict for wealth, had no idea of good administration, and it was this Mahabharata that all was mentioned here. Bhagavad Gita is another important part of Mahabharata. If it is one another part is called as Bhagavad Gita. It is regarded as sacred. What it is in dialogue form between Lord Krishna and Arjun. It is in dialogue form, conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjun. In the midst of battleground, and this battleground was on its way, the dialogue was all between these two, and it is mentioned in this Bhagavad Gita. This is in Bhisma Parva. This is in Bhishma Parva. Parva simply means a chapter, and there are 18 chapters or parvas in this Vishwa, and it is in 18th chapter. It is in 18th chapter. There are two parts of Bhagavad Gita itself. One dealt in bhakti or devotional part, Bhagavad Gita. One dealing in bhakti or dealing in devotional part, while as second was philosophical philosophical texts which dealt in real politics politics, and it was meant for intellectuals. Dear students, as we know, in Ramayana, Mahabharata too talks about values, because we have seen their family values, etc. That is for good manners, what a person should have. Similarly, there in Mahabharata, there is a mention about the good values which must be upheld, like like truth shall prevail, and besides it, other things are mentioned. Hope you would have learned about this Mahabharata, the great world's greatest epic, and the number of shlokas it had. You already know about the Ramayana. Thank you for being with me